All right, guys, Ringside Ramblings is back again. We just did a Rage Wrestling preview last week with Spencer Chestnut. This week we're doing a VCW preview this Saturday night at the Norfolk Masonic Temple. Hacksaw Jim Duggan will be there at 6 o'clock. Bell's time is 7:30, and we're going to go over this card. It's the 13th annual Liberty Lottery, so should be an exciting night. Of course, if anybody's an old school fan, Hacksaw Duggan, big in the Mid-South, big in the WWF. Most people know him for his WWF, but he was a really, really big guy with the Mid-South and before it became the UWF. With me tonight is my favorite referee. He's in VCW, he's in Rage Wrestling. He does a little bit of everywhere. I'm talking about referee Ron Mills. How you doing tonight, Mr. Mills?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you having me back on.
Oh yeah, we did. We skipped a couple. We had some issues where we couldn't get together for a couple of the VCW events. But we're going to cover this one. We're going to review this one. He will be, referee Ron Mills will be there this Saturday night in Norfolk. Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Let's talk a little bit about old Hacksaw. Have you had any meetings with him before?
You know, I have. It's been a couple of years since I've seen him. I refereed one of his matches here in North Carolina back in the Wilmington area. Probably, I'm going to guess that was around 2016. And that was one of the last times I saw him. And then I bumped into him in Orlando back in April of 17 when WrestleMania was down there.
Right.
And I'm with him at the hotel, but, just kind of catching up. But, man, talk about the history and the mileage that a guy like a Hacksaw just has. I mean, from, Mid-South with the Watts to, that glory days, so to speak, of the WWF and then even WCW. I mean, Duggan's seen a lot, man, so it's going to be a real treat to have him, at the Masonic Temple on Saturday.
Yeah, he will be there at 6 o'clock. Photo opportunities. If you want to find out prices of the photo opportunities, VCW.com has, it looks like a lot of options up here for them. They got a combo with a photo op, a signed pic for $50, a cell phone or personal camera picture for $30, a glossy 8x10 for $30, and then the signature on a personal item is $20. So you got a lot of different options there. Of course, if you want tickets, ringside tickets are selling out there, and I'm not so sure if they're not sold out already. It says they still have some. $25 ringside, general admission is $20, and a kid ticket I think is 12 and under with a paid adult, or 5 and under. I believe that's 5 and under are free with a paid adult. So come on out and check it out. So 7001 Granby Street in Norfolk, Virginia. Let's get to the card. We'll start with the the Commonwealth Heritage title. Kobe Corino, the champion, will defend against Ken Dixon. Now this is, I think that these guys have had a few matches before. Am I right?
Yeah, they've had a couple of run-ins. I think it's kind of funny because the Hellcat, if I'm right, they're actually 0-2 against the Golden Pinky Society. So they're yet to win the match. Unfortunately, they're retaining their belts because the two victories, so to speak, or however you want to look at it, have been as a result of basically deliberate disqualification. So, even though they're losing the matches, they're still retaining their belts. So really, at the end of the day, that's what matters. But I think from what we're hearing out of sort of the office at VCW is, we've got a great commissioner in George Panthis, and he's been present at a lot of these matches. I mean, this goes back to March in Hampton, Virginia. So we're talking, what is this, almost August now?
Yeah, we're almost in. We're on the last of July.
Yeah, 4 or 5 months now. These guys have been deliberately getting disqualified and retaining these belts, and I think Commissioner Panthis is, from what I'm hearing from the office now, is, going to be putting some sort of sanction in place that's going to prevent this from happening again. So maybe we'll finally see a fair and square match with the Hellcats versus the Golden Pinky Society Saturday.
Yeah, so maybe Griffin Banks can pull one off and get the VCW Tag Team Championship straps against the Hellcats. Finally get to one. Okay, let's go to our next match. The Commonwealth's Heritage title. Kobe Corino against Ken Dixon. This is another one that's had a couple of matches with each other. How you think this is gonna go out with Corino defending against Dixon?
This is one of those things. These two guys had a match back in, oh my gosh, it was in January, back in Windsor, Virginia. It was the first VCW show of the year. And, man, those guys wrestled for probably a good 20, 25 minutes. And I don't mean, a little ballet dancing. I mean, these guys went, pedal to the metal for 25 minutes. And, it was one of these deals where, Ken Dixon had retained the Commonwealth title at the show in Windsor in January. But, I was involved in the match, and there was a reversal of the decision, and that became, sort of questionable. And, anyway, that got reviewed. But anyway, he still retained his belt. And then we fast forward a month later, and we bring in, Jeff Jarrett comes into town, and he actually got involved, in the match. And Kobe actually ended up, winning the title. So he walked away with that Commonwealth title. So, it's going to be interesting to see them sort of go in like a kind of almost like a third and final fall kind of situation.
Right.
Where you got Corino, they're kind of evenly matched. But, man, those two guys can wrestle. So it's going to be an entertaining match. But, and I think if I'm not mistaken, it hasn't been too long ago. I believe Kobe was actually just on WWE TV, wasn't he?
I think so. I think you're right. I think it wasn't not too long ago. Yeah,
I think. So I mean, he's coming fresh off WWE TV. So I mean, that plus having the belt, that gives him an advantage. I think going into the matchup.
Right. And the next match is another feud that just doesn't seem like it'll come to an end. Phil Brown defends the VCW U.S. Liberty Championship against Urban Legend in a last man standing match. Now, usually when it's a last man standing match, this is kind of what they try to do to end a feud. This has just been going on and on. Urban Legend hasn't been able to get that title from Phil Brown no matter what he's tried to do. But a last man standing match, it should be pretty interesting at this event Saturday night.
Yeah, I got to tell you, again, this is kind of another one of those, like you just said, one of those kind of grudges or haskets that just can't be buried with these two guys. I mean, these guys had a pretty awesome match that kicked off the year for VCW back at that show in Windsor that I talked about just a moment ago. And, they've wrestled a couple of times since then. It's just one of these things, unless there's some sort of, dire stipulation put in place, like a last man standing.
Yeah.
You don't see it in sight. But, I mean, I got to tell you, man, I've worked with both these guys for a long time. And, Phil goes out a lot and talks about being around the game for so long and how he feels like he's, maybe getting towards the end of his career. And he's had those conversations with the fans, many times over the last couple of years. But, man, I disagree. I think Phil Brown's got a lot of gas left in the tank. And Urban Legend, he's full of the confidence that it takes, but I just don't know that he's got the necessary experience like a guy like Phil Brown has to get him, where he wants to go. So, it's going to be an interesting matchup. You kind of got the young versus the old.
Right.
The guy who's been there and done that against the guy who wants to get there and wants to do that. So it's going to be a heck of a matchup, man.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if Phil Brown retains, will Urban Legend get another shot at this VCW U.S. Liberty Championship? Usually when the last man standing, this is kind of the end of the grudge or the feud or whatever you want to call it. In the one of the main events, I'll say, one of the most anticipated championship matches of all time, Gino, the Latin Heartthrob, defends his VCW Heavyweight Championship against the Mid-Atlantic Badass, Damien Wayne. Now, the match was fueled by a vicious attack perpetrated by Wayne immediately after Gino won the championship in March, and their next altercation took the entire locker room to separate them. So this should be a pretty intense match here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, no doubt it's going to deliver on many different levels. I was at the last VCW show back in June, and I was officiating Gino versus Joe Keith, who had come into the company, and signed a contract to wrestle Gino. And anyway, I found myself, I got knocked out towards the end of the match. I just kind of found myself in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I didn't know this until after the fact, but during the period that I was out, I remember when I started coming to, I felt like I was being shaken. And then I felt my shirt come off. My referee shirt came off right there in the ring, and I knew something was going on. So once I started kind of getting my bearings about me, I didn't really know what had happened. I finished the match, and then as you go back and look at the footage, you find out someone interfered in the match when I became incapacitated. Who do you think that was trying to come after Gino? Of course, Damien Wayne. So, man, I just think it's going to deliver on a whole lot of levels.
Yeah, this may be one of those matches where you need more than one referee here, because it could spill out of the ring. It could be a little bit everywhere. No telling what kind of tactics Damien Wayne will try to get that VCW Heavyweight Championship from Gino.
Absolutely.
And then the other main event, the 13th annual Liberty Lottery Battle Royal, popular luck of the draw superbout, which the winner scores a title match of their choosing at any time with 12 months. 20-man winner, but only one will win the historically career-boosting title match. And also, the people that are entered in these matches are picked by the fans. At random times, they're picked by the fans. This should be interesting here. I know I've always been a fan of the Royal Rumble. We also had the Rage Bowl at Rage Wrestling, so this should be a fun one here.
Yeah, no doubt. There's so many different, kind of moving parts and just variables that play a part of this match. It's almost crazy when you really sit down and think about how the heck do you even win a match like this?
Exactly.
With all those moving pieces and all those components. And, it always comes down to the last couple of guys that really just, fight sort of tooth and nail, so to speak, to get that shot that they can kind of cash in over the next 12 months. And, man, it's I'm never disappointed. It's always one of my favorite matches, of the year that I look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. And, of course, the winner gets a title shot within 12 months whenever they want to. So this could be big, depending on who comes out of that VCW Heavyweight Championship match with Damien Wayne and Gino. Could be big for whoever wins this. So let's just go over this again. Of course, we've got the tag match, the VCW Tag Team Championship match, the Hellcats against Golden Pinky Society. And like you said, there could be a stipulation in place by VCW Commissioner George Panas to try to keep the Hellcats from getting themselves disqualified. Maybe a no disqualification match or something like that, I would think. Colby Corino defends his Commonwealth Heritage title against Ken Dixon. Phil Brown, in a last man standing match, will defend the VCW US Liberty Championship against Urban Legend, and the VCW Heavyweight Championship on the line with Gino, the Latin Heartthrob, defends against the Mid-Atlantic Badass, Damien Wayne, and also what we just talked about, the annual Liberty Lottery Battle Royal, which the winner gets a title match of their choosing at any time within 12 months. 20 men enter, only one will walk out as the winner. And also, 6 o'clock, WWE or WWF, WCW, and Mid-South legend Hacksaw Jim Duggan will be on hand. He'll be signing autographs, taking pictures, be there at 6 o'clock. The bell time is 7:30, and this will be at the Norfolk Masonic Temple, 7001 Granby Street in Norfolk, Virginia. 7:30 bell time. Doors open at 6 for the meet and greet with Hacksaw. Ringside $25. General admission $20. Kids 5 and under are free with a paid adult. Looks like it's going to be another great night for VCW. Hopefully we'll have a good crowd out there. I know you're really looking forward to it.
I am, Stephen. You know, you sat here and you talked about the legends and everything, and I know this might be a little off topic, but when we talk about the legends, you know, there's actually kind of a little special thing that's going to be coming, an event that's coming up here locally for me that involves a legend and some of his legendary ring attire.
Yeah.
About that, would it be appropriate to talk about that maybe?
Yes, let's talk about that by all means. I did see that. We need to talk about that.
Yeah, so for anybody that's listening that's in kind of this eastern North Carolina area, you know, again, Norfolk's only, you know, a couple hours north of us, and it's definitely worth the drive to go check out the talent that's up there. So, you know, if you're free this weekend, go meet Jim Duggan, head up to the Masonic Temple, and, you know, check out what those guys have going on. And then next weekend, you know, if you're still here locally in the area, there's actually going to be an event that this is the third annual, I believe, Greenville, North Carolina Comic Con. And that's a big thing right now. These guys doing these Comic Cons kind of all over the country. And Greenville's got a fantastic event. I've been the last 2 years as a fan and just taking my daughter and supporting the you know, fun and the event that the guys are putting in there. But this year, we're actually going to be there as a vendor. And as we talk about the legends and things like that, you know, there's kind of one wrestler when we talk about legendary ring attire and ring gear. Certain guys are known for certain things, and I think, you know, when you think of one legend in particular and you think about ring gear, you know, there has to be maybe one guy that comes to mind, you know, known for his blonde hair and his rhinestones and sequin robes. Of course, we'd be talking about Ric Flair. So next Saturday, August 3rd, at the Greenville Convention Center, the Greenville Comic Con's going on from 10 to 5, and I'll be there at a booth set up as a vendor, and I'm going to have on display, it'll be available for photo op, is going to be the actual robe that Ric Flair wore that fateful night in 1983 at Starrcade when he defeated Harley Race to win his second world title. And that blue peacock and rhinestone robe is going to be on display at the Convention Center Saturday, August 3rd from 10 to 5. So if you're in the area and you're a wrestling fan, comic book fan, pop culture fan, that's the place to be.
Yeah, and I've got to get up there. And guys, if you get a chance to see this robe, it's a piece of wrestling history, no doubt. Like you said, 1983 Starrcade, one of those iconic matches that you will always remember. Flair beating Race at Starrcade '83 in the cage match for that title. Also, you get a chance to see something like this. It's not every day you get to see Ric Flair's robe. And if you haven't heard the story behind this, check out the ringside. Well, the Final Score. I think it's on the Final Score YouTube channel, the interview about how you acquired this robe. And it's a great story. It's a great story. If you guys haven't heard it, check it out. I'll have the link. I'll put the link up on Ringside Ramblings. You can check it out. And what a great story! It's kind of unbelievable how you acquired it. I mean, it's the story behind it. And I don't want to get into it. I'll let you listen to it on the interview, but. The previous owner, yeah, that's what kills me. The price he almost let it go for at a yard sale. That's what kills me about it. But Ron, that's going to do it for tonight. Good luck this weekend with this show. Hopefully everything will go good. I know you don't know what matches you'll be in, but I'm sure you'll be involved in the Battle Royal, the Liberty Lottery Battle Royal. But good luck this weekend. Hope it's a great show.
Yeah, I think it will be. Looking forward to it. You know, again, this Saturday at the Masonic Temple, Jim Duggan. I think it's at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Yeah, just, it's going to be a great opportunity with the Liberty Lottery and with all the matches from all the guys this upcoming weekend. And then if you haven't gotten your filled in, come see me again at the Convention Center in Greenville with Ric Flair's Road. We'll have the NWA title belt there. That's Saturday, August 10 to 5.
Yeah, guys, definitely go check him out in Greenville with, a piece of history right there in Eastern North Carolina. All right, guys, well, that's going to do it for tonight. That's our VCW preview. Go check out Liberty Lottery 2019. That's going to do it for tonight. Ringside Ramblings is signing off.